Hi again, Mark here from TalkingBass.net. Here we are with the latest in the series of lessons on chord construction in the Music Theory for Bass Guitar course. So far we've covered triads and seventh chords, which we built from stacking various combinations of thirds. This system of stacking thirds can then be extended beyond the seventh, and if we follow it to its logical conclusion, we find the building of a chord takes us through every scale degree in odd number order. So the triad was scale degrees 1, 3 and 5, then we add the seventh. If we add another third we reach a ninth, if we add another third we reach the 11th, another third we reach the 13th, and then we finally reach the 15th, which is a higher octave repeat of the root note. So we arrive at a cycle of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, which you can remember just as a succession of odd numbers. The 9th, 11th and the 13th are referred to as extensions. This cycle of extensions can be seen from a C major chord using the natural 9th, 11th and 13th as follows. So we've got C, the root, E, the third, G, the fifth, B, the seventh, D, the ninth, F, the 11th, A, the 13th. All ascending in thirds. It's important to realise that the 9th, 11th and 13th are compound interval names for the 2nd, the 4th and the 6th. So from a tonic C, the 9th D is simply a 2nd but an octave higher. The 11th, the F, is just a 4th but an octave higher. And the 13th there at the A is just a 6th but an octave higher. If we build a chord using these extensions, we use each note in order up to the extension that we want. So a ninth chord is made up of the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh and the ninth. An 11th chord is made up of the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth and the 11th. A 13th chord is made up of the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, the 11th and the 13th. These patterns can be shown as C major 7 chord extensions as follows: C major 9, C major 11, C major 13. So each time I've gone through the whole sequence of extensions. In the smaller seventh chords and triads, we looked at every combination of major and minor thirds. With the extended chords, there are way too many to look through, and there's only a certain number of them in popular use anyway. So an easier way to see this is the 9th, 11th and 13th are classed as major or perfect unless indicated otherwise. So a C major 7 chord would be extended with the major 9th or 2nd, which is D, the perfect 11th or 4th, which is F, and the major 13th or major 6th, which is A. A C minor chord would use exactly the same extensions of D, F and A as would a C7, C minor 7 flat 5 or a C augmented 7th. They're all the same extensions unless indicated otherwise. If we use any different altered extensions that aren't major or perfect, then we have to indicate that in the chord symbol. So if we wanted to use a flat 9 or a sharp 11 or a flat 13 in any kind of 7th chord, it would have to be shown in the chord symbol. So that would be something like a C7 flat 9 or a C7 sharp 11. There'll be an upcoming lesson on altered extensions, so I'll go through all of that then. It's important to understand that the extensions are built from 7th chords and they're named accordingly. So the number 7 is changed to the number of the extension. So a major 7 chord is naturally extended to a major 9, major 11, major 13 chord. A minor 7 chord is extended to a minor 9, minor 11, minor 13. And this goes through all of them. So a major 7 sharp 5 would be extended to a major 9 sharp 5, major 11 sharp 5, major 13 sharp 5. So the 7 is changed to whatever the extension is. So you would have, so on a tonic of C, you would have C major 7, C major 9, C major 11, C major 13th, etc. So let's look at a few different extended arpeggios. Again, we'll play them all from a C tonic, but it's important that you move the pattern around and learn it from different root notes. But just for the examples, we'll just be using a C. Also, we'll run through the extensions from the 7th through to the 13th of each chord. So let's start with the C major 7 extensions. So first of all, we have the C major 7 arpeggio, C, E, G, B. Then we add the D for the C major 9, so C major 9 arpeggio. Then for the C major 11, we'll add the F up here, the 11th. then for the C major 13, we'll add the A, the 13th up here. So we have C, E, G, B, D, F, A, and back down. Okay? Now for the C7 extensions, we have C, E, G, B flat for the 7th arpeggio, so that's a C7. Then we'll add the D again, so that's a C9. Then we add the F, so that's a C11. And then finally the A again, so that's a C13. Now for the C minor 7 extensions, we have C, E flat, G, B flat for the C minor 7 arpeggio. Then we add the same extensions D, F and A. So we have C minor 9, then C minor 11, the F, then C minor 13, there. So we're going through the same set of extensions as we did with the C major 7 and the C7. Now let's extend the C minor major 7 arpeggio. So we have C, E flat, G, B for the C minor major 7. Then we'll add the D for the C minor major 9. Now the F for the C minor major 11. And now the A up at the 13th for the C minor major 13. Okay? Now let's extend the C major 7 sharp 5. So we have C, E, G sharp, B for the C major 7 sharp 5. Then we'll add the D again for the C major 9 sharp 5. Add the F for the C major 11 sharp 5. And then the A again up at the top for the C major 13 sharp 5. Okay? Remember that the sharp 5 in the major 7 sharp 5 and 7 sharp 5 are part of the basic augmented triad, which we used as the basic building block originally, along with the major triad, minor triad and diminished triads. It's not an extension, so when you see these extended chords with sharp 5s in them, that's a part of the augmented triad. It's easy to get that mixed up with the flat 13, which is an altered extension. So now let's extend the C7 sharp 5. So we have C, E, G sharp, B flat. So that's the C7 sharp 5, or C augmented 7 as it's sometimes called. Then we add the D again, and the F and the A. So for a C9 sharp 5, we add the D. C11 sharp 5, we add the F. And for a C13 sharp 5, we add the A up at the top. Okay, so they could also be called the the plus 7 for the augmented 7 chord, plus 9, plus 11, plus 13. Next, the C minor 7 flat 5 extensions, or half diminished extensions. We have the C, E flat, G flat, B flat for the C minor 7 flat 5. Then the D again for the C minor 9 flat 5. F again for the C minor 11 flat 5. And the A up at the top again for the C minor 13 flat 5. The diminished 7 chord never really uses extensions in this way because its construction is based around stacking minor thirds. Once we reach the diminished 7th interval, the following minor third takes us back round to the octave, and any natural extensions added to this interval sequence are going to take away from the sound. So we'll just stick to the minor 7 flat 5 extensions as the sole natural extensions of the diminished triad. So now we've gone through all those arpeggios, you can see that we've only used the major 9, perfect 11th and major 13th, the D, F and A, on every single arpeggio. We've never used a D flat or an A flat or an F sharp because they'd be the minor 9th or the augmented 4th or 11th or the minor 13th. Unless indicated otherwise, as I said before, it's always the major 9, perfect 11th, major 13th. Now we've covered each extension, we can create an exercise or drill for practicing each of these arpeggios. Simply follow the same sequence as we covered in the 7th chords. So that's major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor major 7, major 7 sharp 5, 7 sharp 5, and minor 7 flat 5. Because remember we're missing the diminished 7 chord. We'll run each extension as we've already played, so up and down, and I'll be using a backing track that gives you an idea of the sound of the chords underneath. The backing track is available for download over at the download section of talkingbass.net, and that's along with all the sheet music and tab, so all the lesson material, that's all there. So with the backing track, C major 7. From an aural perspective, the extensions are simply enhancements of the feeling provided by the core 7th chord. The 9th has its own individual flavour, as does the 11th and the 13th. And these flavours can be heard as a kind of spicing up of the basic 7th chord. Just as we taste certain herbs and spices when we add them to food, like a meat dish. But the overall flavour of the dish is still dominated by the meat used. So the 7th chords are like the meat, and the extensions are like the spices. As I've said before, these chord construction lessons are covering the basic way that we build chords, not the way that we use them. Don't worry though, the building of chord progressions and the way that we use them is the main bulk of this music theory series, so we'll get there pretty soon. For now, it's just important to understand how these chords are constructed, particularly how triads, 7th chords and extensions come from stacking these thirds. One last thing to mention is the concept of voicing. When we play chords as opposed to arpeggios, the notes of a chord do not have to be played in this systematic 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 order. The chord is the same chord, however we arrange the notes on the piano or the guitar or a bass. Notes are sometimes repeated, notes are missed out, and the way that we lay them out is called voicing. Now, I'll be talking about voicing in later lessons, but there are a couple of things that we need to be aware of when we discuss extensions. The first thing is that not all of the extensions between the 7th and our top note have to be present in the chord. So in a C13 chord, the 9th and 11th can be removed. That leaves us with 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 13 or C, E, G, B flat A. The same thing with the C11, we can miss out the 9th. So we end up with 1, 3, 5, flat 7, 11. The lower extensions between the 7th and whatever the top note is can be included if we want, and it's important to understand that they're a part of this whole stacked thirds concept, but only the 7th and the required extension are needed. Secondly, the chords that contain a major third from the root, that's the major 7, dominant 7, major 7 sharp 5 and dominant 7 sharp 5, all have a problem with adding a perfect 11th interval. So that would be the major 11, dominant 11, major 11 sharp 5, dominant 11 sharp 5 chords. That's because the major third and perfect fourth are only a semitone apart from each other, and because this really nasty sounding clash when they're voiced together of a minor second, which is that. Now, it's possible to alleviate this by voicing them further apart, so putting them an octave apart, but it still gives an odd sound even at long distances. And because of this, musicians and arrangers usually miss the third out of chords containing an 11. So you generally don't see major 11 chords in popular use. However, they are part of this whole stacking thirds concept, so it is important to understand the theory behind them, even if they're not commonly used. Now, because the third is removed from the chord, it can actually be classed as a suspended chord. So a C11 chord is sometimes written as a C7 sus or C7 sus4 because there's no third there. Suspended chords I'm going to be covering in an upcoming lesson, so don't worry about any of that for now. And also remember that this problem of a clashing third and fourth is only noticeable from a harmony standpoint. Melodically, it's not such a big problem, so our arpeggio practice is fine as of itself, since the fourth passes by so quickly. It's not an accented note there. One extension that you will see for the major 7 chord from time to time is the Sharpened 11, so the major 7 sharp 11. This extension has none of this minor second clash with the third, and it's a popular alternative for a little bit of melodic variety because you can use the ever popular Lydian scale. Again, I'm going to be covering this in the altered extensions lesson. So that's it for extensions. As per usual, please subscribe to the channel to get updates on all the weekly lessons, and visit www.talkingbass.net to see more lessons and articles on bass playing. You can sign up for the Talking Bass newsletter to receive more updates on all the postings, and you'll also receive the wonderful free scale reference manual that's full of loads of great practice material. Okay, see you later.